Welcome in everybody to Betting Pros. It's me, Joey P, Joe Pisapia, and today it's about the divisional round of the NFL playoffs. So wild card weekend was fun. Lots of exciting performances, some one-sided games, and some closer ones, that's for sure. Just ask the Raiders and Bengals, but those are all in the dust. Those are all history, and Scott Bogman is going to help me break all the games for this weekend down. We've got 4 games, 2 on Saturday, 2 on Sunday. Scott Bogman, did you learn anything from these teams that have advanced and survived after the first round?
I think we learned that the Chiefs and Bills game might be the highest scoring game in the history of football. I mean, the Bills literally scored a touchdown every single time they touched the ball. So I think it was 7 for 7 in touchdown drives, and then the last drive they had was the victory formation. So they were outstanding, and the Steelers woke the Chiefs up in the second quarter. And you wake up Patrick Mahomes and you're going to get a lot of points. Even, Tyreek Hill was a little gimpy going into the game. He looked fine. Travis Kelce was throwing touchdowns. They throw touchdowns to offensive linemen. I mean, it was an embarrassment for my Steelers, but the Chiefs look like they're peaking at the absolute right time right now.
Well, my Patriots were equally embarrassed, so that's okay. Yep. We can go lick our wounds for the rest of the offseason. But yeah, high total on this Bills-Chiefs game, and we're going to break them all down. But we got to start here with Saturday at 4:30 Eastern. It's the Cincinnati Bengals taking on the Tennessee Titans. The Bengals are 3.5-point underdogs in this one heading to Tennessee, which feels about right to me. On the money line, if you like the Cincinnati Bengals, you're getting plus 152. The total for this game is 47. So, Boggs, when you're looking at this one, what's your first instinct? Because I know what mine is, but I want to get your take on this first.
The Bengals are peaking right now, and I hate to say it because I despise them, but they've been playing great football, man. And Joe Burrow looks unflappable right now. Jamar Chase is outstanding. Joe Mixon is healthy. And the defense, I mean, they crushed Derek Carr. This pass rush is incredible. I mean, you just go back to the offseason and you think of this Trey Hendrickson signing, and it was just outstanding for this team. They still need a little help in the secondary and linebackers. You can check out my mock draft to see where I went there. But, I think that they're peaking, and this is the first week back for Derrick Henry. And we're not, as we're recording this, we're pretty sure Derrick Henry is going to be back, but he could still be inactive, right? And A.J. Brown is just back. So we don't know what Tennessee team we're going to get. Are we going to get the good, run it down your throat 40 times to Derrick Henry? Is he going to be used sparingly? A.J. Brown's had a couple good games, but Ryan Tannehill's kind of been hit or miss this year. So for me, I'm going to take the Bengals on the money line straight up to win this game on the road and go to the AFC Championship, as much as it disgusts me. Over under, I'm a little wishy-washy. I'm going to take the under just because I think Tennessee is going to win time of possession in this game because Derrick Henry is back. I'll give them that at least. So, but I just think the Bengals are too good to be beaten by Tennessee right now.
We did not rehearse this ahead of time. I feel the exact same way.
Wow.
And the reason why is not because of last week's game, actually. In some ways, it's in spite of it, because I did not like the fact that they let the Raiders hang around, and I did not like the fact that it got close.
They took their foot off the gas a little bit.
They took their foot off the gas, but on top of that, Boggs, when you watch that game, they also had a couple injuries, too. They allowed the Raiders to hang around, and you don't want to do that with the Titans. I just want to put that out there, especially you don't want to do it on the road. But I'm going back to the game a couple weeks ago against the Kansas City Chiefs where I made a big statement, I remember on the TV show about it, which is this is the game where you find out who the Bengals are. And the Bengals showed you. And they showed you in a big way who they were against the Kansas City Chiefs. And that, to me, is who the Bengals are. And I feel like they take it personally that, they won the division, they won a playoff game, and they're still underdogs. I think they take it personally. I think Joe Burrow does too. And I think he is a leader in the real deal. And I think my favorite wager is just like you. It's the Bengals on the money line. And we all know one of these games is going to go sideways, right? One of the favorites is not going to win. At least one. And looking at it, it's a hard sell for me on the other 3 home teams. It just is. This is the one to me that's wide open. If we thought Tennessee was a paper tiger going into the playoffs anyway, even getting Derrick Henry back, there's been games where they had Derrick Henry and they lost, and you look around each other like, how did the Titans lose this game? I worry about Tannehill turning the ball over at a crucial time, and I just feel like this is the sneaky one where you're looking at it, and it's only 3.5, right? So it's not like Vegas is confident at all about the
Right.
Tennessee Titans going into this game where it's like, oh, it's a 5.5 point spread or something like that. No, no, no. It's basically like, as little as you could possibly favor them, we will. So I'm with you on this. I can't believe we're agreeing on the Cincinnati Bengals. My goodness, that's exciting. But I'm also
Times
with
have
you.
changed, Joe.
They
Times have
are.
changed.
The 47 is a number that I don't care for either. I think the best
Yeah.
wager is the money line. And if you want to put this in a parlay and do all 4 games, which, by the way, we were 1 game shy. We were 5 of 6 in the super parlay. Broke my heart. Sorry, boys and
Welsh didn't
girls.
parlay it, but he was 6-0 against the spread this week.
That's very
So,
good. Very
yeah.
good. But yeah, Cincinnati Bengals, if you want to put them in this week, I would put them with the 3.5. But if you want to go crazy and put them on the money line, you can. But I'm with you. That's the wager I like in this game. Let's look at some individual props potentially in this game too. Let's talk about passing numbers here. Joe Burrow 278.5, Ryan Tannehill 238.5. If we like the Cincinnati Bengals, do we like the over here on the Joe Burrow number?
I mean, I do like the over, but I'm not betting that number with confidence. That's a lot of yards. So
It's pretty high.
Yeah, 275 is a lot. I think he's going to be right somewhere between 275 and 300. So there's just no way I'd touch it.
The chase number to me is actually one that I would go over on. It's 77.5. What are your thoughts on that one?
That's receiving.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I think I would rather go over than under that number. But I think I would rather do total yards because we saw Chase get used like Deebo Samuel last week. He had 4 rushes. So I think I would go with a total yards number over a receiving yards only for Chase.
All right, fair enough. And right now, as of recording this, we still don't have a number on Derrick Henry. So if that comes through, you can always hit us up on Twitter and we'll answer that. What about on the passing side for Ryan Tannehill? 238.5 is the number. Your thoughts on that, especially getting Derrick Henry back theoretically, what impact that has potentially on that number?
I think you have to go over that number, especially if you're picking Cincinnati to win this game straight up. I mean, it should mean that Tennessee is playing catch up at some point in this game, even if it's only the fourth quarter. You have put a 70-yard drive together with mainly passes. You have AJ Brown back. You have Julio healthy finally. So all your pieces are there for Tennessee. There's no excuses for them in this game. So I think I would go over that number if I had to pick it.
I'll tell you what, if you don't like the passing number for Joe Burrow, how about the passing TDs at 1.5? That feels like an over to me.
I take the over on that. I crush the
That
over
seems
on
like an
yeah.
easy over to me, too. So if you're having any sort of pause, that's the way I would approach it. And Boggs, and I agree yet again there. All right, let's move on to the night game on Saturday night, the San Francisco 49ers, who we told you were going to upset the Dallas Cowboys, and sure enough, they did. The 49ers are going to go into Green Bay now. Green Bay rested off the bye. Aaron Rodgers' toe has been on ice or heat or whatever the hell he's doing to his toe. The Packers are 5.5-point favorites in this one. No surprise there. That number feels respectable. We're respecting the Packers, but we're also respecting the strong close to the season for the 49ers. You have 47, just like the other game. Interesting that both games on Saturday are 47. So the 49ers defense, has played relatively well here. Deebo Samuel has been fantastic. The question is, Boggs, can they do enough here to cover this 5.5, or do you think a rested Packers team in Green Bay rolls them?
I'm going to take the Packers. And look, this game, I'm going to take the over too. I think I like the over more in this game just because the Packers have not looked good on defense, particularly against the rush. And that's exactly what the Niners do. They run the ball down people's throats. Eli Mitchell, 27 carries last week. Deebo had 10. They look outstanding in this run game. The Packers have been bad against it, but that Niners defense, Bosa's going to play, but he's questionable. Fred Warner's a little banged up now, and the secondary has been the issue for that team the entire year. Aaron Rodgers isn't going to be stopped in this game, so I think there's going to be a lot of points here. And I just am the thing that I'm most confident in is Jimmy G making that big boneheaded mistake, third or fourth quarter, and the Packers taking advantage of it. He did it in Dallas, and Dallas just couldn't score. They had too many penalties on offense. 13 penalties, obviously a lot of controversy to the end of that game and stuff. But for me, I think I have to go with the Packers at home and lay the 5.5. And I really like that it moved to 5.5 instead of 6 because I think 6 kind of makes me queasy, but 5.5 I like a lot. So give me the Packers and the over in this game.
All right, the consensus continues with Bogman and myself. I like the over, and I also like the 5.5 on the Packers side as well. All the public money is coming in. The vast majority of it on the Packers, and typically that's something whenever I see it I get a little antsy about myself, but I can't do it. I'm not going to go against Aaron Rodgers, at least not this week. But believe me, if they end up losing to the 49ers, I'm not going to be sad about it at the end of the day. I guess here's the question.
You and Welsh will be so happy.
Well, here's a question for you. When you're looking at the two coaches in this game, and these teams have met up before, and if you recall a few years ago on their path to the Super Bowl, the 49ers absolutely just ran roughshod over the Packers. Now,
right.
It feels like a different Packer
I think Aaron Rodgers
is
0-3 in the playoffs against the Niners.
Well, that was my last question is, all that public money going there, it's plus 200 on the money line for San Francisco. I don't think it's a crazy wager if you want to be Oppo to go ahead with the 49ers. It's one of those things where we look at it and go, well, the public money, it feels like a all done deal. It's not. I think this game has some tightness potentially in it, and I would not be surprised that if Garoppolo does avoid catastrophic mistakes, that the 49ers can pull out a victory here, even though it's in Green Bay and all of the other factors here. But I don't think it's investable for me personally, and I just want to bring that to light.
We're down to the best 8 teams in the NFL, so
right.
All these games are going to be close. Would I be shocked if the Niners beat the Packers on the road? Absolutely not. I just think that you get a flawless Jimmy G game if he does that. And those are rare for Jimmy G. And I think you can win the Super Bowl with him. I think he's a good enough quarterback, but he's that Andy Dalton, Joe Flacco, Brad Johnson, line of good enough quarterback, but he is not going to will you to win many games. So, I think that's where the big disconnect is. And, I enjoy trends. I think they're good and they're fun to look at, but I will never invest in a trend. Sometimes they pay out like that, weird Jacksonville beating the Colts at home in Jacksonville since 2014. Sometimes they pay out like that.
Crazy.
But how different is the 2014 Jaguars to the 2021 Jaguars?
Oh, completely.
Right? So
I'm with you.
Different.
I think that stuff is vastly overrated when it comes to wagering. You have to live in the now.
Exactly.
Especially because rosters turn over so frequently. Passing props here, Jimmy Garoppolo, 243.5, Aaron Rodgers, 265.5. Any interest in either of those two numbers?
Rodgers over, Jimmy under. You're going to win on the strength of the run game if you're the Niners.
Agreed with that. Speaking of which, passing touchdowns, Garoppolo 1.5, Rodgers 2.5. That's a pretty big number there for Rodgers.
2.5, I'm going to stay away from. I think the number's right, and he probably throws 3 touchdowns, but I'm not going to bet on it because, you just Devontae Adams steps out at the 1, and here's Aaron Rodgers, here's A.J. Dillon, here's Aaron Jones. They have plenty of other ways to go. Bootleg to the tight end. So many different ways to go in that scenario. So, that's not one I'm going to take. Although I did hit I had the Dak plus 400 anytime touchdown last week, and I got that.
There you go. There you go. Let's go to the receiving props here. Speaking of Devontae Adams, his number is 91.5. Deebo Samuel is 54.5. And George Kittle, who's been relatively quiet these last few weeks on this 49er run, just 48.5. So anything tempting on the over-under, 40.5 for Kittle. Yeah, that's what I was looking at.
Kittle's the one, and I know I said I'd take the under on Jimmy G's passing yards, but he passes to different guys in different games in different scenarios. And last week, Kittle was used mainly as a blocker. He's probably going to be mainly a blocker in this game too. But if he catches 3 passes, he's getting over that 48.5 because I think at least 2 of them are going to go for 20 because he gets the ball and then runs some MFers over. I mean, that's what Kittle does, right? So I think that is the most intriguing one to me of all of them.
Here's your combo number for Deebo Samuel, 93.5 over or under.
One of the best offensive players in the league. I think you got to take over. If it's less than 100, you got to take over on Deebo every single week.
The other one that I think is sneaky is Allen Lazard, 38.5. I would go over on that too. It's a good trend with Lazard. Same. MVS is going to be out. That's one that I would lock in now. I think that's a very good. That might be the biggest gimme. Like if you're going to try to run up the Deebo, Devontae Adams, and you need a third one, Lazard would be the other one for me. I think that's the way I would go. All right, let's move on from Saturday to Sunday's games. NFC matchup at 3 o'clock Eastern. The Los Angeles Rams taking on the Tampa Bay Bucks, the defending, reigning, undisputed champions of the world, are 3-point favorites in this one. 48.5 is the number. So the Rams finally showed up. So that's great.
Dominated.
Now what? Yeah, they dominated, but does it travel? That's the question here, Boggs.
That's a huge
question. Can they pick it up, and can they go to Tampa and win on the road? I say no. What say you?
There's no way I'm betting against Tom Brady, but I'll tell you what, I don't like betting this game. And because right now we don't know if Tristan Wirfs or Ryan Jensen are going to end up playing for Tampa Bay. Losing 2 offensive linemen is enormous. Leonard Fournette also not trending in the right direction, it seems like right now. So he is a maybe in this game, it looks like. So, those are big pieces to lose for Tampa Bay. And look, the Rams won, and they were at home. You didn't have to have Matt Stafford do a bunch for them to win that game. Kyler Murray more lost that than Matt Stafford went out and won it. He didn't make the big mistakes that he had been making. He'd been handing out turnovers like their Christmas gifts, previous 3 weeks before that game. And it was kind of weird to watch this offense kind of crumble in on itself. So I think you can do that to beat the Cardinals when they're shooting themselves in the foot. You're not going to get that from Tom Brady.
I agree.
So I think that Stafford makes a mistake or two in this game that cost the Rams the game. And it's just impossible to bet against Brady in the playoffs. So give me Tampa Bay and give me the under in this game, just because that Rams defense did look good. And we have questionable offensive lineman stuff going on with Tampa Bay right now. And Matt Stafford is not playing at his peak. So all that adds up to me taking Tampa Bay in the under in this game.
Yeah, the under, I think, is the most appealing wager in this game, too, the under 48.5. I'm in lockstep with you again here, and this is very rare that we're, both kind of seeing everything.
Only one more game to go. We'll differ on this one, I feel like.
So I don't know. We'll see. I didn't think we were going to differ as much as I didn't think we were going to be in lockstep so much, on the Cincinnati game. But I also, it took a big game from Odell Beckham stepping up, and again, I don't think that's something you can look every single week to and rely on if you're the Rams. And I feel like the Rams felt like they accomplished something last week, and I don't think they have yet. I think that's the other big takeaway from watching that game on Monday is they look at us, we're dominating. Look, yay, we're the best team. No.
Well, they've been, McVay's taking this team to the Super Bowl. Obviously, pretty different roster.
A while ago.
At this
Tom Brady
point,
was still a Patriot then.
I mean, but it doesn't matter. Tom Brady's just in this. By the way, our boy Bubba broke me off this stat, which I didn't realize that. Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers have the same amount of victories against the NFC in the playoffs. So,
wow.
Isn't that crazy? I knew that one would bring a big old smile to your face. So,
I like that stat.
1 year in the NFC, by the way, for Brady. So,
all right,
I guess 1.5 at this point. So.
1.5, right? Yeah. All right. God, that's wow.
Isn't that great?
That's amazing. All right, passing props here. Tom Brady 286.5, Stafford 279.5. I would go the under on both of these blocks. What do you think?
Both of them. I don't. Gun to my head, I'd probably take the over on Stafford and under on Brady, just because I expect the Rams to be losing this game and playing catch up late. So that's where you get those big chunk yards and things from Matt Stafford. But I wouldn't want to mess with either one of them.
Cooper Kupp 102.5 for the passing prop. Your thoughts?
I mean, you just
I should say.
You just take Cooper Kupp and go
every
over.
Time.
Just that's the one weakness Tampa Bay has, and maybe the offensive lineman too, but the secondary has not been the best this year. So that's the one weakness. Jamel Dean lined up on Cooper Kupp, he's going to torch him. So,
well, that's what I figured too, is if you can at least contain Cooper Kupp, then you force them to beat you with Odell and other guys like that. And I'm still not sold that they can. I'm just not. And last week didn't sell me enough on that. I guess that's
right.
The point there. Not a lot of rushing pops available for this game too, because the backfield's kind of in motion, so to speak. So none of them have really been released. The only one that I can find right now is actually Tom Brady. So that's not one that we want to get too much into. All right, last but certainly not least, if you like points, this should be, at least theoretically, the game for you. Now, of course, I say should be, and oftentimes these games can be very disappointing. What looks like a shootout on paper between two big-time offenses oftentimes disappoints. I don't think this one's going to. 6:30 p.m. Eastern, the Kansas City Chiefs are going to host the Buffalo Bills. The Chiefs are just 1.5-point favorites, which I think they should take a little personally, because they are the team that's gone to the Super Bowl and won a Super Bowl recently. I think they deserve a little bit more respect than they're getting. The number is 53.5. I think this is an over. But Boggs, I've thought real long and hard on this one. And to me, I'm siding with the side of the Chiefs here. I think there's a lot of emotion came out of last week. I think it's going to be a little bit of a letdown yet again for the Buffalo Bills, where I think all of the years and years of getting beat up by the Patriots all just kind of came out and it just kind of overflowed. And I just wonder if you can inflate the bubble again and do it on the road against Patrick Mahomes. I don't think at the end of the day they're going to. I really don't. I would love if the Bills made it to the Super Bowl because they were my pick, but I feel like this is possibly the end here for them. What are your thoughts on Bills Chiefs?
We're 4 for 4, Joe. I
Okay.
can't believe it. I thought for sure after watching your team get dominated by the Bills, you're going to pick the Bills, but I watched my team get dominated by the Chiefs, and I'm going to pick the Chiefs too. What I think happened in the second quarter, of the Steelers-Chiefs game is that the Chiefs woke up. We haven't seen Patrick Mahomes look this good in a couple months, and he just looked outstanding. He couldn't miss in the second half. The Steelers couldn't do anything. They couldn't stop an offensive lineman. The Bills obviously are a better team than Pittsburgh, and it's going to make it a much closer game, which is why this is only 1.5. And the Bills they were literally flawless against New England.
They were. Everything that could possibly go
7
right
for 7 touchdown drives.
He goes to throw a ball out of the end zone, and Dawson Knox just catches it for a touchdown. I mean, literally everything. And you knew that game was over from the moment Hyde made that interception. To me, that was it. That was it. That was the moment where you go, okay.
It's such a great play. I thought that was a good throw by Mac.
It was a great throw, but they were ready for it.
And
Hyde anticipated it. He was the right place at the right time, Pogs. And I just feel like that's a very crucial emotional moment at home for that fan base, for Josh Allen specifically too. And now you got to pump up the balloon again and go on the road. That's tough. If this was in Buffalo, I might feel differently.
I think I would feel differently if it was in Buffalo, but it's going to be Kansas City. Kansas City has great home field advantage.
They do.
And, I mean, the weather's not going to affect Buffalo at all. Obviously, coldest city in the NFL, Buffalo. But, I think that I think what you're really going to see here is a mismatch of, losing Trey White was such a big thing for Buffalo earlier this year. And, they've been able to withstand that. I think it's going to be exposed here. Plus, Travis Kelce versus Tremaine Edmonds or whoever, you're going to have to pick your poison. And that's what makes the Chiefs so dynamic and unstoppable.
And Lair's going to be back for this game, it looks like, too. So they're getting him back in healthy. He was a full practice on Wednesday. So waiting for the reports today.
When Patrick Mahomes gets going like that, they're damn near unstoppable. The only team that could stop him last year was Tampa Bay in the Super Bowl, and they were still like, there's still video of the Bucs going, how the hell did he do that?
Oh yeah.
And
you know who can stop the Chiefs? The Chiefs defense. That to me is always the undoing potentially of the Chiefs. The Chiefs defense can stop the Chiefs. That's it. That is the biggest, I think, negative side of this. I just don't think they're going to do that in this game. I just don't. I feel like you're right. I think they woke
You're going to have Stephon Diggs is going to have to do what Jamar Chase did to the Chiefs, which is in the realm of possibility. Dawson Knox also becoming a superstar like Travis Kelce is. So it's very similar, these two teams, but this is why they're in this spot. I think this is definitely an over. Just because both these offenses have been so they're both clicking on all cylinders right now. But I'm not going to bet against Mahomes. I'm not going to bet against Brady. I think those are pretty safe assumptions in the playoffs.
I agree with you. Let's dig a little deeper here into some of these numbers. Player passing yards, the props here. We got Mahomes 281.5, Josh Allen 280.5. That's a big number there for Allen. I think I would go under on the 280. What are your thoughts there?
This perfect number. I wouldn't bet them, but I would go over on both. I think that both these offenses are going to click here, so I go over on both.
Patrick Mahomes is at 2.5 for the passing touchdowns, but Josh Allen just at 1.5. That one I like, and I understand there's variables with Singletary and him running in the football, but that's basically asking for trouble. Like, I would take that trouble. I 1.5 on the Allen side. I like that more than either of the receiving numbers that we just talked. The passing numbers we just talked about.
I agree with you on that. What's Josh Allen's rushing number?
Rushing props for this game, Josh Allen's number is 50.5.
Oh my
Mahomes
God.
is 22.5.
Okay. On a 50.5 is probably what he'll get. So there's no way I'd bet it. If it was 30, 35, somewhere in that range, I was going to say hammer that, but no, I can't.
50.5 and Singletary's 59.5. So
I would rather take Singletary by a wide margin in that one. And what do you say? Mahomes was 24.5. I'm not doing that.
25.
So,
yeah.
Nah, no thanks. So I remember he got nicked up I think in the divisional round last year, hurt his knee and it wasn't as mobile, going into the AFC Championship and the Super Bowl. So I think you're trying not to run Mahomes if you can avoid it.
Tyreek Hill 70.5 for the receiving prop. Kelsey 70.5. Stephon Diggs 72.5. Which of these three do you like the most, if any?
Hill. I like Tyreek Hill, and because Hill gets that on 3 catches, because he's the deep threat. So if he catches 4 or 5 balls, he's almost assured to pass this. And I just don't think really anybody in the league, maybe Jalen one-on-one can stop Tyreek, but not many guys can stop him.
All right, there you have it. Make sure you check out bettingpros.com for all of our latest information on all the wagering and all the lines at all the different houses there. Anywhere you want to place your bet, you can do it at bettingpros.com. So go ahead and check it out today. And Bogman, I'll be next week here yet again to talk about the championship games. I can't believe it. It flies so quickly. I feel like, man, the playoffs. It really does fly by. But this should be a very entertaining 4 games, and I think the peak game there is going to be that Sunday night one for sure. So look for something strange there, but Bogman and I are going to be riding or dying together here.
Yeah, I know.
4. My goodness, just stand back. Boy, I hope we're right, Boggs.
Yeah.
I hope we're right. I think we picked that one where we feel like, I think it's going to go sideways. Maybe Saturday gets interesting, but at the end of the day, the Packers win, and then we like the 2
yeah,
home
you hope you're wrong about the
Sunday.
Packers. I hope I'm wrong about the Bengals. So we'll go.
There we go. There we go. All right, that'll do it for us. But the story of the game goes on. For Scott Bogman, I'm Joey P. We'll see you next time, kids.